Welcome back to the Tuesday weekend. We are talking about substitutions this week. And in this last block, we want to talk about some of the positive substitutions. And Nick, I'm going to let you kick off this one.
Yeah. So there are drinks, and there's drinks that are obviously they've been created like just by adding one ingredient. For example, it's an old school one that probably it's not even that old school. It's like we'll call it the mid horrible cocktail renaissance of the 70s and 80s. A Colorado Bulldog, which is basically a White Russian with Coke in it. Someone just added Coke to it one time and it tasted pretty good. And they went to a bar and said, "Hey, can I get a White Russian with Coke?" And then that bartender went, "You're insane, but sure, why not?" And then they tasted it and were like, "That's actually pretty good. What do you call that?" That's kind of how sometimes drinks start. It's just a guest says like, "Hey, try this," and you try it and it's pretty good. I mean, I've had guests give me a cocktail recipe like, "Hey, can you add this to say a chocolate martini or something?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure." And I'm like, "That's really good. I'll write it down," and be like, "What do you call that? Or do you have a name for it?" It's just some interesting things. Like right now, I'm actually working on a cocktail construction from a friend of mine. We were out yachting, boating, whatever. And he's like, "Here, try this gin and tonic." And I'm like, "What's in it?" And he's like, "Well, I've added orange and black pepper to it." And I'm like, "Interesting." And then I tasted it and I'm like, "That's actually really good." I'm just trying to work on smoothing it out because the black pepper floats and gets all in your mouth and everything tastes like pepper. So pepper bitters, yeah, they're already on order. They'll be in this week. I can try that. But yeah, there's all kinds of cocktails that someone said, "Hey, add this, try it," and it just makes a whole new drink and tastes wonderful. Tastes better than sometimes the original.
Sure, sure. I don't know why, but that just made me think of whoever put Diet Coke and orange juice together, which then somehow people ran with that and just, okay, it's weird.
Oh,
Anyway,
the Tom Hanks champagne and Diet Coke.
champagne and Diet Coke. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, do you see a lot of what you would consider positive substitutions in your kitchen?
They're a dime a dozen sometimes, but
Sure.
I
Sometimes
kind of
it's hard to
like
tell the positive ones from the negative.
obviously you can tell which one's like the negative or what you depict as negative, but it's a positive for the guest, because obviously we're diluting their food with stuff they can't have. But I love when people come in and they want toasted garlic with their pasta.
Mm.
I just think like I love toasted garlic and red chili flake and pasta just like that. I think it's really delicious. But when they add it to a dish, I just feel like it adds a certain level of umami that like, all right, this person gets it. Like, because I love garlic. And I'm like,
For sure.
that's for me, that's like if someone wants extra garlic on their food, I'm like, I'll do that for them.
Oh, geez. So back when I was in Park City, there, I think it closed, but there was a place out at Kimball Junction called Maxwell's that had pizza by the slice. And I would usually get two slices, one cheese, one with blue cheese, anchovies, and roasted garlic. And it was just
Oh,
that salt and umami bomb. And I mean, now, sure, maybe that isn't the best choice for a date, but it also, all I'm doing is trying to please myself. And oh boy, that did it. So yeah, I love that stuff.
actually had a guest. I love when guests come in and they modify some of the desserts we have, to be honest, because it's actually kind of cool. Where they're like, "Hey, I want the half baked, which is essentially a molten lava cake with caramel, but instead of vanilla bean ice cream, I want that salted caramel ice cream on top."
Sure.
Like, okay, or I want pumpkin ice cream on top. I'm like, a little weird, and then I'll
Weird,
ask our
but
pastry person to make it for me, and I'll try it. I'm like, oh my God,
hey, that
you
you know,
know?
I mean, it's a little bit different. But one of my friends in New York showed me once. She had a she had ordered a brownie a la mode with a shot of Jameson. And they arrived and she just poured the shot of whiskey on top of the brownie. And I don't know how she learned that, but it's amazing. Like I've actually kind of folded that into at one point when I was at the golf course, I did a dessert special that was essentially a sundae with, of course, vanilla ice cream, caramel chocolate, some brownie bits, some pretzel bits, peanuts in there. Sorry, guys. And then caramel drizzle, a chocolate drizzle, and then finished with a shot of whiskey on top. And it just I don't know why that whiskey makes such a beautiful sauce for everything else. I think it's great. Oh, and some pomegranate seeds on there too. Oh, it was. I want to make that now.
Yeah, yeah. I had some guests in a couple weeks ago, and I mean, I'm a big tequila fan, big mezcal fan, and these two ladies are like, "Yeah, you would give us that tequila on the rocks, that mezcal on the rocks." I'm like, "Okay, no problem." And they're like, "Oh, can you squeeze a lemon in each one?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's a little different. I haven't really heard of that, but sure, why not?" So I squeeze it, and they were drinking that for 2 days, and like, it's really, really good. And I'm like, "Okay." So I went out after work one night and said, "Yeah, give me a tequila on the rocks and a lemon." And they're like, "Seriously?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I squeezed it in and tasted it, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's really good! Like really good. I strongly recommend trying it."
Sure.
And with the mezcal as well, where you really wouldn't think that would work, but it works. It's like when you hear that rumor about, hey, put some balsamic vinegar on your ice cream.
Mhm. Right.
You guys do that all the time and have a lot of, you know, kitchens and stuff are very, very creative. But when normal people are like, hey, try this, and you're like, okay, that's weird, and then you're like, that's fantastic.
Right.
I just really enjoy when stuff like that happens.
I guess the lesson here is, hey, sometimes be open to what those substitutions are, because you as a chef or bartender might learn something or might find something new that you enjoy. Well, before we get to restaurant shout outs, Nick or Matt, any other final thoughts on substitutions?
I'm always been a proponent of eat and drink what you like, especially drink what you like. Bar substitutions aren't that big of a deal. They really aren't.
Sure.
Kitchen substitutions, when I'm serving food, that's a big deal because my kitchen has put together these dishes for you to have something that tastes good, that's unique and different. And when you come in, decide to wreck the buffet at the Yarrow Club when you're deciding what you want on your food, just remember you came here in the first place to try our menu. If you want your menu, go home and cook your menu. That's what I'd say about substitutions. Give it a shot. Try something new. Try something different. You might actually like it. If you're at home and you like to eat that medium well cheeseburger and stuff, don't go out to a restaurant to order a medium well cheeseburger. Try the blue bacon burger. Try something new. Try something different. That's kind of what food's there for.
Try the lamb burger.
To enjoy things.
Try the bison burger.
Try the bison burger. But can you do
one of everything?
Try one of everything.
Try one of everything. I'm a big proponent of for final thoughts. It's like as a cook, but also as a chef, is I take a lot of consideration into the guests when we're making dishes, but also I don't restrain myself from doing what I want to do on a dish. If I feel like this adds the flavor, complexity, and the technique to the dish that makes me happy, I'm gonna do it. But when I build menus, I put dishes that can be modified, but I also leave dishes that cannot be modified.
Mhm.
And I always try to, I tell servers and I tell our managers, I build the menu this way so the integrity of the food doesn't go down.
Yeah, that's when we get dishes made like that by the chef and stuff, and okay, this is this dish, there's no substitutions. That's included in my spiel for the dish. It's like, so we have this and this and this and this and this, and I finish with, this is a set piece, there are no substitutions. And I was like, oh, can I put rice on instead of? I'm like, there's no substitutions on this.
No substitutions.
Gonna come out, and that's it.
Yep.
And that's people like, well, I'd like it, but I'm like, we're not changing it. Sorry. If you don't want something on the dish, we can take it off, but we're not even doing that. It's just, this is the dish. Try it this way. Otherwise, order something else.
Yep.
And I've honestly found a lot of people who are very against, like, well, I really want this on it, but fine. And then they try, like, this is really good. I didn't think this would taste like this. And I'm like, that's why we're here. Because you wouldn't think that all this together would taste like this, but the people in my kitchen know what it's going to taste like. And that's why they're sending it out to you, because it tastes delicious. Enjoy it. I mean, I don't mind modifications that much when they're not too outlandish, but when you've got set piece menus, try the food that the chefs made. Give it a shot. See what they came up with. That's kind of the fun of going out and dining. It's like, when I look at a menu, I'll look at it before I go out and I'm like, oh, I really want to try that. That looks good. I'm not sitting there going like, I really want to try that, but I just want to try that. I want to see what it tastes like.
I just don't think, like you said, I'm never gonna say no to if someone wants a mod on their food. Obviously, you like what you like at the end of the day, but like I said, take that leap of faith and entrust the restaurant, and trust your kitchen, and trust the bartender Like, especially if you're spending a lot of money with us, I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. But give us an inch and let us take you the mile. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's let us show you that we can properly cook eggplant. We can properly cook a lamb medium rare for you because the only lamb you probably had medium rare in your life has been medium or mid well, and you don't even know the difference.
Yeah, or the flavor. Yeah. 100% there.
Or even just like on another note, the way we season in restaurants and in the kitchen is not the way you season at home.
Well, I mean,
No.
I do, but yeah, yes.
You're a chef, you're at home. Come on, knock it off.
Yeah. You're like when I season a steak with pepper and salt, it's liberal. And people look at me and go, that's a lot of salt and pepper. It comes off on the grill. Trust me.
Oh, geez. On New Year's Eve, we were at a little house, like dinner party, and the host had bought quite a bit of food. And one of the things she had gotten is a number of steaks to be shared among the 8 or 9 of us. And yes, I volunteered to cook those steaks. And sure, the host was a little aghast at the amount of seasoning I put on, more than she did.
Of course.
Nobody was like, oh, this steak isn't good. No. Like everyone was like, this is amazing. It was like, yeah, because it's seasoned and then it's cooked well. And yeah.
Yeah, that's a big difference, but it's seasoned and cooked well.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like a friend of mine used to say, she's like, whenever you make a sandwich, like a nice deli sandwich, like a beef sandwich, like just add some salt and pepper. It makes a world of difference in what you're eating.
With that, I think let's get to our restaurant shout outs. And I'm going to shout out Sassafras here in Carson City, which calls itself eclectic food, and it is correct. It's one of the places that I like to take guests when they're visiting from out of town. Part of what I like about it is because the menu ranges everywhere from cheese curd to Japanese omelets to it's all over the place. It's one of those places where you don't really have to make a lot of modifications or substitutions to the menu, because if you don't like that, you'll find something else that fits your palate more. So yeah, kind of something for everyone on there. Everything is good quality. I've had a good time every time I've been up there. So Nick?
I'm gonna give a shout out to just down the street, Cafe Isola. It's a nice little Italian bistro, and literally in those words, it's not a full Italian restaurant. They have some pasta, like 3 pasta dishes. They do the pizzas really well. They do the focaccia, the appetizers well. They've got burrata. The food's just really nice. It's got a nice price. They've got a decent wine list that's enjoyable, and it's just a nice, small little place to go down and have a nice bite to eat. I really enjoy the place. They also have a really cool happy hour from like 2:30 to 6. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it's like $6 everything, $6 glass of wine, a $6 stone oven margarita pizza at happy hour.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, yeah, and like you're talking about, everything was seasoned very well. I mean, I've never really added anything to anything I've eaten there. It just didn't seem to need it. So, but yeah, I really like the place. The staff too. The staff's really, really nice.
All right. And Matt?
I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Tribute Pizza in North Park. Just cranking out 400 or 500 pizzas every night in a wood fire oven is challenging, but also the way they deal with every single modification that comes with all these pizzas, making a vegan option for a pizza, having a gluten-free option for pizzas, like they really kick ass and do a really good job. Matt Lyons, who's the owner's really great guy and does a good job at conceptualizing different combinations that you wouldn't think would work on pizza, but absolutely makes sense. And every time I go there, I sit at the bar, I get a bowl of Brussels sprouts with mustard, vinaigrette, and I get a whole pie of pepperoni. It's that pepperoni that cups in that wood fire oven, you can't beat it.
Oh, geez, that sounds great. Yeah. Well, I think that is going to do us for this week. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. I am Josh Hobson. Thank you again to Nick Parkin as well. The music that you're hearing now, it was made by Adam Smith. Deneen Oliver does the social media stuff for us, and I basically am to blame for everything else here. So thank you, and join us again next week.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks.